Let's talk about love and marriage, the way that God intended. Life experience, here we share it. The No Fruit Podcast. Tune in from any platform. No Fruit Podcast will help your spirit transform.
Hello, everybody.
Hey.
I hope that you are having a wonderful day.
Yep.
And we are so glad to be back here today with you, talking about ourselves and how our journey continues.
Right.
Friends, if
Right.
you are out there and you have not yet subscribed to the No Fruit Podcast, please do so. If you are not following us, we ask that you would follow us and share this information with your friends. We would love to just continue to grow on the No Fruit Podcast.
Most definitely.
So, yes, please do that. Subscribe, like, share, all those great things. So, Maurice, last time we were talking a little bit about our journey for the last 2 episodes, and it's a great thing, to share our marital journey and what we've been going through and how we continue to stay together after all these 20-plus years, 20-plus years, and still counting, still loving on each other, all that great stuff. So, we talked a little bit about our financial journey because a lot of times in marriages, that tears people apart.
Right.
When things are not aligned financially, your financial goals are different than mine. The way you're trying to get to things is different than mine. Sometimes can be a huge struggle for marriages. At any point, we were looking at something, I think, not too long ago when people were saying that folks they knew in the church were married 40 years.
Right.
They had kids that were 30-something years old, and something just clicked like, hey, boo, this ain't it. And gotten a divorce, So I don't know if whatever they had saved up for didn't pan out or, the wrinkles were too wrinkly. I have no idea what it was. But you and I have been talking the last episode about our financial journey and, especially for you, what you have gone through financially. As we have grown and as our journey continues. So tell us a little bit more about what, else. Continue the story, love.
Right. So I think I left off where we were shopping a lot at Target.
We were shopping a lot.
And so...
and building up debt.
Right. And so here's what happened. Because of the travel, because of the shopping, because of not really paying attention to the bills or whatever else, and because I was coming up short on my end. I can't say Kafa was or wasn't. I don't remember. I just know where I was on my end.
I think because we switched jobs here and there, we weren't always consistent.
Right.
Whether it was, hey, this job, you get into somewhere and it's not for you, or Maurice would take a different job and he's getting paid more than me, and then he looks at me like, hey, you got a degree. How come I'm making more than you?
Right.
And I would say, well, you're a man, and they always pay men more. So we had those struggles, of just trying to grow and get ahead. Now, again, all of us want to do that. We all want to grow and increase. We're looking for increase, and that's a great thing. But at times it did hinder us because we weren't helping each other. Sometimes we were... I guess pushing each other to do better and look for better instead of sitting in where we were and trying to grow within. So we were always looking outside for another job, for another come up. And I think that sometimes hindered us with that, because it is what it was,
right.
And as Maurice had said previously in a previous episode that, sometimes it was temp jobs. Sometimes, during this time we were having kids, so you weren't always in the best position to take FMLA. For our first child, I had just started a job, so wasn't working there long enough to get FMLA. Was able to take off a couple of weeks, but I couldn't take 6 months. It's just like, you get 2 weeks or maybe a month or whatever it was off, and then I had to go right back to work. So. It was interesting. It was difficult at that time. And a lot of times we had to pay, rob from Peter to pay Paul. And then Paul wasn't happy. So, we still had to figure some other things out. So it was tough. Right. It was tough. So some of these actions, because of kids and childcare, like we did not understand at any time. Nobody sat us down and it's like, okay, you're getting married,
Right.
and you're going to start a family, and it's going to cost $200-$300 a week,
Right.
per kid, just for somebody to look at them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And so nowhere did anybody sit down with us and say, hey, this is what it's going to cost.
Mm-hmm.
They certainly sat down, and you have marital counseling, premarital counseling, but no one really talks about what's it costs not only to put on diapers and feed the kid, but if you're trying to continue to work, what's that cost?
Yeah, I think it's really hard to say because everyone's situation is different.
Right.
So as you had mentioned, we both were going back and forth as far as the job thing goes.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And as we are going back and forth and reviewing what the other person is doing and to some degree trying to outdo the other, it put us in some really, really weird situations where we weren't happy. And I know that for me, for that year and a half, when I was going back and forth to Kennett Square and back and forth to Malvern, again, when we talk about the finances, this is where you find out how much work a car really needs. And you also find out how long it takes for a car to be worked on.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and for majority of this time, we only had one car at this time. So it was difficult to navigate, especially for me working so far out. So going to Kennett Square, could I have, caught public transportation? I have no clue, to be honest. It was already an hour and a half driving. So what would it have been if I was on public transportation? And then when I had gone to Malvern, and I'm listening to any and everybody, in their situation. Now, granted, Malvern was a little different. It wasn't as strict as going to Kennett Square was. Also, it was not during the winter time, because for those of you who are out there knows that it could be snowing. It could be like 18 feet out there, and it's like everybody's in Bermuda shorts in Philly. So
Right.
So it was like ridiculous,
Mm-hmm.
And so when I look at the news today, and they be like, "Well, Chester County has this." I'm like, "Yeah, I remember those days.
When?
I know what that feels like. I
Right.
know what that looks like." And coming down Route 1, for those of you who know the curves and the tracks or the trying to get through 202 during the Christmas holiday and how long you could be sitting in traffic, and
Right.
it took such a toll. So for
And a lot of
me,
that is one lane. So just to those that don't know, just so you can kind of picture, Maurice is going, basically a 30-mile drive to work, and then 30-mile drive home. And it's a standard road with traffic lights. It's a standard road, kind of one lane. There may be two here and there.
it's 2 for the most part.
Where you're talking about where the traffic halts.
No, 202 is 2.
Okay.
Or it's 3. 202. So, but here's what happens though. It
When you come
feels-
around Dead Man's Curve and all that is one lane.
It's 2.
Oh, I thought it was one.
No, because of it feels like 1 because of how tight it is,
Mm-hmm.
but it is a 2-way lane. But there are moments where it feels super, super tight, super, super claustrophobic, and it's not conducive for you to be side by side. It really isn't. And the way people are driving, then and now. And I was one of those that was like, yo, like I look at these people today and how they have their foot on the gas 100% of the time. I'm like, yo, I remember those days when I was like that.
Oh, yeah.
Also not understanding that, you know what? That's also causing wear and tear on my vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
I shouldn't be having to purchase gas as often as I was. If I understood, average travel time and average, whatever, I would have probably taken a little different care
Mm-hmm.
of what I had. So a lot of that, and also not understanding that if I tear up this car, guess what? Now the payment for the mechanic is the same amount as my mortgage payment.
Wow.
Now here's the question. Last weekend on Friday, I decided that I'm going to go to Target and we buy, $100, $150 worth of stuff in Target. We bought diapers, we bought baby lotion, we bought baby powder. We could have even purchased baby food, right? We also purchased toilet paper and paper towels, and we purchased toys and movies. That was our typical every week baby run for whatever. And don't let us have to get baby wipes or gel, all the other incidental stuff when you have babies, right? So now what is that? $150. You get paid on Friday. And you also, the following Friday. And now you also know that you're squeaking by for that week. Mm-hmm. Well, guess what? The car says, I give up. The car now says, can we go another path? Can I have a break? Mm-hmm. I need a coffee break. I need something today. And I don't care what you got to do today. You don't care how I feel. You're not listening to me. Mm-hmm. You're not listening to me squeak and moan and chatter and everything else. So guess what? I'm going to make you listen.
Right.
And it did. Now, here's what happens. That $150 that we just paid, and that's not including anything else we purchased. When we had gone to the market, when we have decided maybe we want to treat ourselves and eat some pizza. Something like that. Knowing that we get paid Friday. Sometimes you play the odds, right? Mm-hmm. The car breaks down Tuesday. Now what happens? I can't get to work. I'm on the verge of getting written up because that happened 3 weeks ago, and I'm thinking that the car was fixed. Mm-hmm. Or the other famous thing was the check engine light is on, right, and we're trying to get this thing turned off in order for it to pass inspection, and we got to drive up and down the blue route, trying to get this thing set. So now that bill is now $800
for the mechanic.
Right. So we just went and played Big Willie the weekend before. Mm-hmm. The car decides that it wants a break. It needs to take a nap or something.
Right.
And now we're sitting. What do you do?
And the emergency fund is at zero.
Right.
And your mortgage is due. Your utilities are due, and you have to make that decision of, I need my car.
Yes.
So you begin to play the game of finances.
Yes.
Can I pay a little bit on the electricity, or, I'll catch up with the electricity next month.
Right.
I'll be able to double up next month.
Right.
I'll put a little bit on the mortgage. So we've tried to play games with rob from Peter to pay Paul.
Right.
Because you need the car. You have to get to work. You have kids. We have, we don't live necessarily somewhere right at a bus.
Right.
You can walk a couple of blocks to get to one. But again, we had to play those games. And it led us.
And here's the thing. It was, and so as I'm sitting here playing that game, right? Mm-hmm. Trying to play that game between Peter and Paul. Meanwhile, Kafa and Thomas is sitting over on the side, doubting Thomas.
Okay. Like who? Who's Thomas? Okay.
Sitting on the side, wondering like, am I going to make this thing happen? How can we make it happen? This is what we have on paper. Maurice, are you paying attention to what's on paper? And
for me at that particular time, when you said, hey, we'll double up next month, I believed you.
Well, here's the thing.
And then we got to that next month and it didn't happen.
Well, we couldn't.
Right.
Because next month was something else. Mm-hmm. And, again, not knowing that the car was going to want to take a break once a month. Mm-hmm. Literally, like it literally felt that way. And then here comes child number 2, right? And now child number 2, well, Kafa's home. And so I'm the one with the only paycheck at that
Right.
particular time. So now how am I going to balance all this stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Especially if I, again, just come from my mama's house, not understanding bills and all that type of stuff. Now I'm married, and now we're playing around with the bills because we're still kind of newlyweddy
Right.
type thing. And now we got a little kid, and, people blessed us, and we didn't realize that we was living off of the blessedness, and not the actual, space. So now we're in a pickle.
Right.
The second child comes, and we're so far behind in everything, from CAFA student loan stuff to car notes to mortgage, and we kept playing around with the mortgage. So now, as I said to y'all, this is the crazy part where a lot of people I think don't rebound from, which is we had to file for bankruptcy.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was and I can be honest with you, that idea only had come from me talking with my coworkers,
Okay.
because again, when you're surrounded by other individuals who are or who have been playing those games, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we filed for bankruptcy.
And I wasn't so keen on it at that particular time.
Right.
I just felt as though, hey, just do payment plans. We'll figure this out. I think at that time I had started another job. So she's like, okay, well, I'm back at work.
Right.
We had the second child. We can figure this out. We'll get back on track. But, Maurice, like he said, he had done his due diligence, his research, and said, hey, it'll probably be easier just to safeguard ourselves and protect ourselves and our assets by go ahead and filing by bankruptcy and just, entering into a payment plan that way. So that's the way we went.
And seeing the other reason why we had gone to bankruptcy part, because I had already done, a credit place. I can't remember what it was called. I can't remember what it was called. When I was paying them monthly, where they were supposed to be taking out some money because I had bad old credit cards and all this other type of stuff that was maxed out. So, because that did not work out the way I had envisioned it to, again, not knowing that these places are for profit, not non-profit, right? Or not for profit, so, everything that you're doing, you're paying really them and not so much your stuff. So, things were still showing up on my credit report or whatever else. So it was difficult. So the first 5 years out of my mom's house, we go from threats. I mean, I go from having threats of car repos, foreclosure on the houses, on the house, challenges with work, because I can't get there, back and forth or whatever else. And not only is the car, looking to be repoed, but now the car also keeps coughing up like it wants to give up the ghost. So all these things combined made for a very challenging environment that Kafa and I was living in.
Mm-hmm.
It was very, very challenging. And
the air was thick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was beyond thick. It was crazy. So, and the reason why I said this is Maurice's journey, because, just like the last episode, because this is something that I had never envisioned.
Mm-hmm.
So my vision, my dream, my thought process, dancing and walking through the daffodil mindset had, it was gone,
right?
Because I was devastated. I was devastated. And I've never really said it like this to Kafa before, but
right.
I was devastated, and I never thought that the life would be at that point.
Right.
And so, in all honesty, life was going crazy. It was a lot of crazy things going on and happening, and, everyone is searching for an outlet one way or the other to kind of not be in a place
Take some of the pressure off. Right.
right
Mm-hmm.
that may or may not have been healthy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, habits that may or may not have been healthy at that time or whatever it might have been. You know, so we struggled, you know, not just externally being in this house, but we struggled, you know, I know for myself, I can speak for myself, Kava speak for herself, but I struggled internally.
Mm-hmm.
And I was not happy. And it didn't help that in some of those situations, I deflected.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was deflecting responsibility. I deflected how hurt and sad I was. I deflected on ambition. Like I deflected on a lot of different things, not realizing that I was doing it. And I did not realize how hurtful it really was to everyone else around me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so now is a time that, you know, because we had already talked about trying to move. You know, we were looking to move. We wanted to do something else, get out of that area, whatever. So it's kind of like, did we not, one, take the time to breathe, which I don't think we did.
No.
We never sat down to breathe. We never took the time to smell the daffodils, right? We never took the time to acknowledge that, hey, we have this house. Because again, so yes, we had a house. So everyone else around us, you know, we owned.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone else was renting. And so there were other people that was kind of bouncing around, but we were more stable.
We looked that way.
Number two, we were the one that was having parties. So it wasn't even just, we couldn't just pay the bills. Maurice was just, at Target. But no, we're going to have a barbecue, right?
Mm-hmm.
And not only are we going to have a barbecue, but we're going to be barbecuing on a hood budget. So I'm gonna give you the example, right? Kav, I don't know if you remember this.
I'm laughing. I'm wondering if you're thinking of the same thing I'm thinking of. Go ahead.
Well, this one particular time. So at this time, Kafa did have her license, and Kafa did have a car. We bought a little budget car off of our neighbor. This little white car, right? It was a 88 Chevy Beretta. And I thought that thing was always sporty. My mindset was to paint it. So that was our first little pocket rocket. That car was fast. It sounded like a muscle. Like it was just like if it was in better shape, I probably would have just drove it myself, right? Okay. So we're having this. Well, I don't think it was this particular cookout, but just to give you an idea, I drove the car because we were having something at our house. I drove the car to the market to get food. The muffler falls off.
Mm-hmm.
The muffler falls off. So let me explain to y'all what that feels like and sounds like, right? So you're driving, and then that's blink, 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 blink. Do. Can y'all imagine what that was? The whole muffler falls off. And now you're driving around with this noise. It is the most ear-shattering noise I've ever heard in my life.
Mm-hmm.
But the party went on. So anyway, let me go back.
So I'm going to share my quick party experience because that wasn't what I was laughing about. So the one I was laughing about because, again, Maurice says we, just didn't understand our budget.
Right.
And I can't blame it all on him. I went along with it as well. So we were having a cookout.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember who was there. And most, we were in a row home with the deck, cookout. So you would think hamburgers, hot dogs, right?
You talking about the one where I went?
You would think maybe even chicken.
This is the one I was thinking about.
What did you serve, babe?
You talking about the ones with the steaks?
T-bone steaks?
Yeah.
Who the heck goes to the ghetto and expects to have T-bone steak?
Yo.
On the grill.
Hold on.
I mean, sure, everybody wanted to come to the house next time we had a barbecue.
Hold on for a second.
Of course. Barbecue at the Chisholms, I'm there.
Hold on for a second. But let's be more specific about
Yes.
What brand of T-bone
It don't
steaks?
matter.
No, it does because y'all need to understand.
Go ahead, you
y'all
explain.
have
It was
to
ghetto,
understand
but it was ghetto.
the level of ghetto-ness. Because for those of you that are from the hood, I mean, we're from the hood. I mean, we come off as saintly, whatever else, but understand that we have hood and hood tendencies. Our steaks were Murray steaks. Murray. In the black and red box.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? We used up every last one of those T-bone steaks in that box.
They ate them.
We tore them joints up because, as Kafa says, who has it? One. Everybody else is hamburger, hot dog, maybe a few little chickens. Maybe.
Shrimp on a skewer. Like, who does? Come on.
Yo, we were hood balling babies. Like we were.
And that's why we had financial issues.
Yeah, because we were eating steak.
Not even like we were eating steak. We had people over and was like, "What you want? You want steak? You want beef? You want turkey?
Like,
you want
what?
chicken? You want shrimp?
What?
You want? I mean,
potato salad, macaroni salad, corn, green. Like we had Thanksgiving every time we opened up our doors. We didn't understand what it meant to have some fly by night anything.
Mm-mm.
Like even
so you go to Thanksgiving dinner and this is this is after we had moved and moved to a different home. And we were hosting Thanksgiving dinner. I don't know if it was the first time or second time, which one. I think it might have been the first. I'm not quite sure. But usually you have Thanksgiving dinner and you have maybe 2 or 3 vegetables.
Mm-hmm.
I think that year we had everything.
Any kind of vegetable.
I mean, we had Brussels sprouts. People was like, Brussels sprouts? You having Brussels sprouts? Oh my gosh, I love them. Who the heck loves Brussels sprouts? And who serves them at Thanksgiving dinner but the Chisholms? Yes, we have Brussels sprouts. They've been sauteed in garlic and butter. Oh, wow. Who has that? Was that enough? We couldn't just have greens and cabbage, string beans. No, we had greens, cabbage, string beans, Brussels sprouts, because that's your green vegetables. Then we had carrots.
Oh, we had spinach too, because you made that for your dad.
We had corn. We had, you name, every vegetable. I remember, Maurice was like, why don't you make them carrots the way you make them, with the glazed carrots? So we're in there glazing carrots,
Let me tell you. And this was the first time I put turkey on the grill.
We had turkey 2 ways.
Yo.
Who has 2 turkeys? We had ham. We had all the other stuff. But turkey 2 ways. Yes, you can have it grilled turkey or you can have it a roasted turkey. Which one y'all think went first? And who the heck stands outside in the middle of Thanksgiving?
I mean, at that time, not everybody was doing it at that time.
I mean, fried turkey, I think, was starting to come out
at
that time. But no, he popped that baby on the grill.
Yep. Everybody was tearing that up. Because it was different. It wasn't just like everything else.
It did have a better taste, I must say. And I'm not a turkey lover like that.
And so if we had to discuss as to why we had financial challenges. Now, granted, Kyle was talking about some 5 years after that.
Right.
After what we're talking about originally. But our financial challenges, because we didn't know how to pull it back. And that was in a prime example, even though we were in a better financial space. But we didn't learn our lesson.
We weren't good stewards of what we had. We weren't good planners. We could plan and say, hey, we're going to eat this. But when we get to the market, again, other things somehow just jumped into our cart.
Also, take us.
Well, if you have this goes so well with that. So things just kind of jumped into our cart. I think we never really sat down and was like, okay, this is going to be a $400 meal.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's going to be all inclusive of the aluminum pans and the disposable dishes and... we want...
we can't forget. Yo, how many things of gas do we need?
Right.
Propane gas. I'm sorry, y'all. I want to get into charcoal. I just haven't done the charcoal thing.
Right.
I'm really more into propane.
Yeah. Have we ever done charcoal?
We haven't. We haven't. We were thinking about it, but we've never done it. We've never had charcoal grill.
I think because of where we've lived, we never really felt comfortable. Like, hey,
Between the kid, well, all right.
Right.
So the first house, being, our grill was on a deck, so we didn't want to put charcoal on a deck, a wood deck.
Mm-hmm.
Then where the grill was in the second house was really kind of underneath a bush.
it was next to the bush.
Yeah, so
And we didn't want to recreate the Bible and have a burning bush talking
right,
to us.
literally, and then
Even though it did happen one time.
yeah, yeah, and we had other moments of recreating that scene. And then right now, I don't grill enough right now because I'm too focused on other stuff.
Right.
Even though I probably should, and we probably need.
We
to
might
look
have
into
grill
that.
tonight.
But so those are the type of things that we, again, in our financial journey, we got you all the way up to this place of being in bankruptcy and understanding that it did not, even with that didn't go the way we thought it was going to go because we still had to pay. And understanding that even after us paying, one, we still were not being good stewards of what we had, even with that time.
Defaulted on the bankruptcy.
Then we defaulted on the bankruptcy. Because also I was arguing like, are we, are they going to the bills or not because of the way that the sheet was coming back. So I had some questions about that. And then with that, as soon as we defaulted, it had to have been 5 minutes later that the car was gone.
Mm-hmm.
I get up to go outside to go turn the car and to go to work. I'm like,
Somebody stole the car.
like, where did I park the car at? I didn't drink last night, did I? Where is it?
Mm-hmm.
The car was gone. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
And so, but I got to work because I had to go to work that day.
Mm-hmm.
I got to work and I was late, but I got to work and called around or whatever else and got a rental car and whatever. So we learned some things, but there was a whole lot of other things we didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
And at that particular time, because we had gotten out of bankruptcy and defaulted, we, because everything started right back up.
Mm-hmm.
So now all of a sudden, are we getting ready to go back into foreclosure of the house? So now we're not only worrying about the foreclosure. I'm sorry. We're foreclosure on the car, but now we worry about foreclosure on the house.
Mm-hmm.
And so the car happened. I'm like, all right, well, Kyle, like, I'm in a better situation now with job wise. We can handle this a little bit differently. And guess what? I'm gonna go get this rental car, which I did.
Right. Ford Focus.
Yeah, we love that car. We really did like that car. This Ford Focus. And then, but we're going to really handle this move. Figure out what we got to do about this. And so, and interesting enough, during this time, before we even left the house, we get another car though, because I was in a different financial situation. And I was like, all right, well, I'm going to go get another car. That was actually an upgrade from what we already had. We went from a Maxima to a Chrysler 300. And, for me, that was like, yo, we luxury now, y'all. Like we got leather seats. We got a sunroof now.
Right.
So we really hood balling. And so but I just want to, touch on y'all to let y'all know, like, for those individuals, I don't think we've ever really told our whole story like this, but we were really inspired by what people are talking about, the realness of life and what's taken us in this space of being married 20 plus years of blood, sweat, tears, heartache, pain, muscle spasms, like, like all the stuff, headaches, like everything we've been through. And keep in mind, this bankruptcy thing, again, was within the first 5 years of our marriage.
Right.
So we got married in 2000, September 2000, September 2005, we was out of the bankruptcy. So look at all the stuff that transpired in those 5 years.
Right.
We had 2 kids. it felt like 8 jobs between the two of us.
Yes.
8
cars, it feels like, too. But, so much happened in that time. And we just hope that our story encourages someone out there that's listening, that no matter what's going on, you can still make it through the marriage, And it wasn't that we had anything like, oh, we're not saying the D word, we're not speaking divorce. Like, no, it wasn't that. It was just, we were just trying to make it through.
Right.
We were just trying to make it through. Didn't know how we were going to do it, but that's all. That's the only goal we really had, was just to make it through. And we just hope that this story, encourages you, motivates you, and lets you know that you can win this thing too. Like marriage does take work. Relationships do take work. It's not because life throws so many things at you, and you just have to be ready to take it and move forward. But it's a better thing to do it with someone that you love. So. Even those days when you don't love them so much, it's just so much better to go through it with someone you love, because then you'll look back 20 years like we are and just kind of laugh at it a little bit because we did some stupid stuff. But, we're still here today. And we thank you so much for listening to us. Got anything else to say, Reese?
Nope. I'll just continue to listen to part. What's our next part? What part are we on?
We're on part 2.
Because it feels like we've already went through like 20 parts already.
Oh, goodness. This is part 2 of your financial journey. This is part 3 of our journey.
Yes.
So continue to listen, like, share, and subscribe.
Right.
Thank you, family.
Talk to y'all later.
Bye.
This week's episode has come to an end. But the fun doesn't have to stop here. If you have any questions, suggestions, or feedback, head over right now to Twitter and Facebook and like, share, and get involved. Join us next time.